Hello everyone, how are you today? My name is Toru Minegishi, a graduate student at the Associated Canadian Theological Schools of Trinity Western University. Right now I'm talking to you from Fort Langley National Historic Site. That is a historical heritage park located in the east of Fort Langley, British Columbia. Today I'd like to talk about the historical background of Fort Langley National Historic Site. The historic fort in Fort Langley was originally established by the English settlers who belonged to the Hudson's Bay Company in 1827. Hudson's Bay Company is a trading company established in England during the reign of King Charles II in the late 17th century. The settlers of the Hudson's Bay Company came all the way from England for the purpose of actively engaging in trading with the Aboriginals, who are called the First Nations. Ever since the English settlers who belonged to the Hudson's Bay Company came to this area, they actively engaged in trading with the Aboriginals, who are called the First Nations. Throughout the process of trading, they exchanged agricultural products such as cranberries, fishery products such as salmons and furs for blankets and many tools made from iron. Throughout this process of trading, Fort Langley was developed as one of the major trading posts on the shore of the Fraser River in the west coast of Canada, and eventually it became one of the major trading posts of the west coast of Canada. One of the remarkable issues in the historic fort in the early 19th century was that the English settlers who belonged to the Hudson's Bay Company promoted the interracial marriage with the First Nations. Specifically, they encouraged male employees who belonged to the Hudson's Bay Company to marry women of the First Nations who belonged to the Kwantlen tribe in order to promote the trading relationship with the First Nations and strengthen its position as one of the major trading companies on the shore of the Fraser River in the west coast of Canada. The historic fort in Fort Langley played a significant role in the history of Canada as the place where the establishment of the British Columbia was officially announced. In 1858, the large amount of gold was discovered in Fraser River. As a result, a large number of gold miners all over the world came to this area in order to obtain a large amount of gold. In those days, this area belonged to the Hudson's Bay Company. However, British monarchy was afraid of the takeover of the United States. Therefore, the monarchy urged the local governor of this area to proclaim the establishment of the Crown Colony. The historic fort in Fort Langley played a significant role in the history of Canada as the place where the establishment of the British Columbia was officially announced. In 1858, the large amount of gold was discovered in Fraser River. As a result, a large number of gold miners all over the world came to this area in order to obtain a large amount of gold. In those days, this area belonged to the Hudson's Bay Company. However, British monarchy was afraid of the takeover of the United States. Therefore, the monarchy urged the local governor of this area to proclaim the establishment of the Crown Colony. As a result, Governor James Douglas officially proclaimed the establishment of British Columbia as a Crown Colony. And the actual ceremony of the establishment of British Columbia took place in the building of this site. The actual ceremony of the proclamation of British Columbia took place in the large size white building far back of this site, and that building was called the Big House. And when it comes to the actual ceremony of the proclamation of British Columbia as the Crown Colony, it took place inside of this historic fort. There is a large size white building over there in the far back of the fort. That is the place where the proclamation of the British Columbia took place in November 1858. But when it comes to the current building, it was reconstructed in 1958. That is the 100 years after the establishment of the British Columbia as the Crown Colony. After the establishment of British Columbia as a province of Canada in 1871, the historic fort had gradually ended its primary role as one of the major trading posts of the Hudson's Bay Company. Then, 100 years later, this place was reopened as the Historical Heritage Park, managed by Parks Canada. Specifically, in 1958, Parks Canada reopened this place as the Fort Langley National Historic Site. When this fort was reopened as the Fort Langley National Historic Site, managed by Parks Canada in 1958, this old white building was the only building that had been existed since the colonial period of Canada. After the opening of Fort Langley National Historic Site in 1958, quite a number of buildings were reconstructed, and at present, this place became one of the major tourist destinations in the west coast of Canada, and quite a number of tourists visit this site and enjoy appreciating the historical atmosphere of Fort Langley. Thank you so much for your listening. I hope you have a nice day. Take care.